Legend of Korra Season 3, Episode 8, The Terror Within. This was definitely a really cool episode. I love the fact that we didn't have to see the group traveling to the Metal Clan to kidnap Korra. They did all the traveling during last week's episode when we got to see Tenzin's story and what the Airbenders were doing. The villains were traveling during all of that time, so in this episode, they didn't waste any time. It was pretty much, I think, 5 minutes or so in, and they were already within the city. We got to see the cities, what they look like at night, which I thought was really cool, where they actually close all the metal pedals and they close in everything. I thought that was really interesting because they closed it for the night, but it was still fairly light out. It was probably, if I had to guess based on what it looked like, I'd say it was about 6 o'clock in the summer, so it was an hour or so away from it getting dark. But I thought that was interesting. Like they just close themselves in, and it's like it could technically be, it could look like it's nighttime all the time if they wanted to do it that way. And when they were actually having the battle and they showed the ceiling, it looked like it had actual stars on it, like they painted the inside, so it looks like when you look up, it still looks like it's the typical night sky. So it's not like, oh, we're just looking up at metal because we're more used to actually seeing stars at night. So I thought that was pretty cool. But it was a great episode. It was a cool fight that they had. Bolin had his great moment in this episode where he was the one. He had his little like precision shots and stuff, which was used for comedy in the beginning of the episode, but it was sort of a small plot device that would be used later in the episode to knock out the Combustion Bender, which I love that they called her that because they basically classify it as its own thing, like lava bending. It's not like she's just fire bending or anything. They call it combustion bending, and she's a combustion bender. So I thought that was a really cool classification that they never really made within the show. I'm sure it's been in books and comics and stuff like that for a while now, but they never really put it into one of the series before. It's just the Sparky Sparky Boom Man or Combustion Man. That's what he did, but they never classified him as a combustion bender. It was always in sort of the behind the scenes stuff. It's like he was a firebender who went through these weird experiments, and that's how it became sort of the third eye ability. So it was cool that they classified it as a new form of bending, and it was just a great little fight. They had all four people. They had, I love the part when they trapped them, and then instead of them escaping, which is what I thought was going to happen, because I instantly went to the waterbender when she went to rescue the combustion girl. When she just jumped in there and did like the ice drill thing, I thought she could just do that again and just they all escape. But instead, they had a cool sort of standoff fight where they turned the ground to lava and they held their position. I thought that was really cool. And like I said, Bolin got his moment, and then they had to figure out why the heck, how the heck did they get in here? Who betrayed them? I figured it was the guy, like from the very beginning. Like he's the one person who can tell everyone's lying. I was like, it would just makes perfect sense that it is him because no one else has that ability, or no one at least is trained enough to have that ability. So of course it ended up being him. One of my favorite parts of this episode that was like really really small was when he ran, and it was after he set off the bomb, which was also a great point because I was not expecting a giant drum of oil or something to just blow up the house. And also loved Korra's little dome technique. I thought that was pretty cool, but that made me think like sort of a martial arts cop type movie type of move or something like that. That's what I thought when I saw that scene. But when they found out that it was a tunnel that he escaped through, and Lynn came in, and she did the stomp on the ground, and they did the visual waves, how she just like talked, how she would see everything based on when she stepped. I love that Lynn did that, and she did it not because that's how she steps and that's how she sees, but it's like she gained that ability from her mother. She trained to have that, and it was like, all right, I gotta find this guy, so I'm gonna stomp and I'm gonna like focus that energy and see what's around me. So I thought that was really cool because it's not something that she needs to do because Toph did it because that's how she gained the ability to see, so to speak. And Lynn clearly can see like a normal person can, but she used that ability to see beyond what's in front of her face. So I thought that was a really cool use for the power that she doesn't use every single moment that she's walking around. So I love that scene, but it was a great episode. We got more Barrick doing his silly stuff They had to make him say "Get me the thing" because that's all he never seems to know what anything's called. He's like, "Julie, get me the thing." I love the little Airbender finder, and Asami was like, "I don't think it really. I think it's busted." He's like, "Well, she'd have to airbend into it. How else do you expect to find one?" That, of course, was just really silly. Like, there's a clear flaw in this plan you have right now, because if she airbends, then I wouldn't need the device to work. I could just see that she's airbending. So I thought that was a cool sort of device that he made, that it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't, because I can just visually see it. So I thought that was funny. Bolin was still practicing his metal bending, didn't really go anywhere with that. I love the little fight scene, the sparring scene they had with Korra and her, uh, and Lynn's nephew. So that was cool. We had that part in the trailer where she spins around and she bends the wires around her waist. I still think that looks really cool, even though it's such a short scene. I always thought that just looked really cool visually, especially since she wasn't just spinning, she spun, and then they kind of added her doing the block kick at the end when she kicked the rock away. So it made it look even cooler, but I did enjoy that scene, and Bolin getting beat up was pretty funny too, but it was a great episode. Even Pabu got a huge mention in this season compared to what he's had throughout the rest of the season. Him scratching up against the window and stuff, just the face he made where his eyes were just like wide open and stuff, I thought was funny. And that whole scene when they were coming back after they captured Korra, and Bolin was sleeping, and he looked and he was just like, what the heck, and he started screaming. That was a really funny scene too. They had like really funny moments, but it was a really good episode, and I'm excited to see where things go now that Team Avatar has left the Metal Clan. They're going to be going after these people, which is going to be really dangerous. And I feel like that's really going to lead to the scene we got in the trailer where Asami's riding Naga and Korra's passed out in front of her. I feel like just them leaving the Metal Clan by themselves is going to directly lead to that, whatever that clip was, because they're going to fight and they're not going to win because they only have 3 benders. They could have like 10 benders, and it doesn't make much of a difference because these people are just top level, like all assassins almost. So the 4 of them going out, 3 benders, 1 human, 1 non-bender, and then 2 animals, they aren't really going to have much of a fight against this insane squad of people, especially now that they have the Truth Seer, because I feel like he also has the same ability that Toph had, and that's why he can tell when people are lying, because he uses the same ability, even though he doesn't have to actually close his eyes to see it. I feel like it's the same principle. He just uses it more directly to see people's internal chemistry rather than just see everything beyond what's right in front of them. So I'm excited for what they go into next week, but things are definitely going to pick up. They're going to get really crazy with Korra going after this Team Avatar versus Team Anti-Avatar, I guess. But once they come head to head again and they have an actual battle, I don't know what's going to come out of that, but I don't see anything good happening for Team Avatar because they're going up against people that they can't beat. Like, we've seen them fight dragons. We've seen them fight against Zuko. We, in this episode, saw them fight like a dozen people. They always seem to come out on top. They don't ever seem to really get the goal, which is always interesting to me. It always seems like half and half, except for when they were rescuing each other. That seemed like the one time they actually did everything perfectly. Any other time, it's like they're going through, they get like halfway through the plan and it's like busted, and then they have to just destroy everybody, and then they escape. It seems like that's how it's happened pretty much every time. When they were driving out of the city, they got caught. When they were trying to kidnap Korra, they got caught. When the leader went to infiltrate the airbenders, he went through like an entire day, and then he got caught like right in the middle of this plan. So that seems to be the how it goes, which I find kind of funny, but it's just an excuse to show how amazing these characters are, and I can't wait for them to throw us another excuse for them to just fight and beat everybody else. But I'm excited for what we're going to begin next week. Of course, comment below, let me know what you guys thought about this episode, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and what do you guys want to see from Team Avatar when they come up against Team Anti-Avatar. Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.